Hi, it's Dave T, and when we recently purchased our Adria Twin campervan, I knew I wanted to organise the storage inside to make the best use of the limited space and keep everything tidy and rattle free. I was particularly keen to organise the garage space, but my line manager insisted that I first organise the kitchen storage. However, she doesn't have control yet over my video release schedule, so you may have already seen the video on how I organise the garage. Kitchen organisation obviously can't possibly make as interesting a video as garage organisation, but that doesn't mean I can't try. So to set the scene, we need to know what we're actually going to store and where. To answer the question of where, this video is focusing on the kitchen unit of our Adria Twin Supreme 640 SLB campervan. Now, if you have a different van or caravan, then please do keep watching, because some of these ideas could still work for you, or if nothing else, prompt you to create a variation of them for yourself. Our kitchen unit has one long ceiling level cupboard and 3 drawers below the worktop, as well as a seemingly kind of useless fold down hatch to access the gas cut-off valves for the stove. In terms of the what, we had already consolidated a lot of our gear. So for eating utensils, we now only need to store 4 each of large and small plates, plus 4 bowls. There are also 4 each of knives, forks, dessert spoons and teaspoons. Then we have our 2 metal mugs and 2 tall acrylic glasses. In the cooking utensil lineup, we have this magnetic 4-piece utensil set that packs together a potato peeler, a wooden spoon, 5 smaller cooking knives, a bread knife and this campervan themed breadboard. For cooking, we have this Brunner Pirate Spacemaster set of pans which uses a clip-on handle, a small gas kettle and 4 Kadak tapas bowls for the barbecue, as well as a cooking thermometer. Cleaning and other utensils include this mini washing up liquid dispensing cleaning tool thingamejig and a lighter for the gas stove, a pair of scissors and a can opener. For consumables, we have tea, sugar and coffee, a spice set and our sauce bottles. Okay, so I think I need to explain myself when it comes to the whole spice and sauce bottle thing. Yes, I know there seem to be a lot of them, especially for those of you out there that limit their sauces to the ones you can name based on the colours you learnt in primary school. But hear me out. Before we got the campervan, we caravaned for almost 20 years, and whenever we went away, needed to make some sort of meal or just fancied a particular sauce, we never seemed to have it with us. Or alternatively, we'd end up creating a collection of different sized bottles which were awkward to pack. So a few years ago, we bought these plastic bottles from Amazon, and we then decanted some of our preferred sauces into them, so that now we generally take with us ketchup, brown, soy, barbecue and Worcester sauce, olive oil, vinegar and salad cream. The same is true of the set of spices, and together they make it more feasible to cook interesting dishes whilst we're away. So with that explained, let's get back to the engineering. Starting with the drawers, the Adria Twins have an interesting design feature in that there is no cutlery drawer. I know, it's odd. I don't know if it's just us British that think it's odd or that European cutlery is a different shape, but there you go. Instead, there are 2 tall drawers to the left side of the kitchen unit. The majority of twin owners seem to solve the lack of a cutlery drawer by adding one inside of the upper drawer space. So after flirting with the idea of storing cutlery vertically, I went with the flow and added drawer runners to either side of the cupboard within the upper drawer area. But instead of a simple cutlery drawer, I took my design inspiration from the John Wick School of Cooking and created something more like an assassin's picnic set. We already had a cutlery set which happened to have round handles, and as many of you probably know, I have a 3D printer. You may not know that modelling perfectly round things for 3D printing is really easy, so there was only one real solution. After hours of experimenting with layouts and testing designs, I made several 3D printed blocks, each with semicircular channels the exact size of the relevant handles. Neodymium magnets are small, powerful and readily available, so each block included a recess in which to house a small magnet. These were then attached to a baseboard that was pre-lined with a sheet of black rubber foam, so that each piece of cutlery was held just far enough away from each upper piece to avoid rattles. The result is organised, quiet and much more pleasing to the eye than opening a cutlery drawer ever really should be. For the lower section of the upper drawer, I used 50mm thick sheets of foam with holes cut in to hold the main cooking utensils. I purchased the foam from a British company called Shadow Foam that sells blocks of foam specifically made for creating inserts for toolboxes and drawers. Unlike standard upholstery foam, Shadow Foam is actually made up of layers, making it easier to cut different depths. They also supply a wide array of colours if you prefer a more vibrant two-tone effect. Using foam inserts is not the most efficient way of storing items, but it does make them rattle-free and highly organised. My main objective was to make sure that everything had a place to be put in where it could be easily accessible rather than left out, and rattle-free when travelling. I wanted to store the plates vertically using 3D printed holders similar to the plate rack I actually designed and printed for our caravan, and I'll link to that video up here, but the Twin didn't have a suitable cupboard, so I modified them to work in the lower drawer. You can also buy foam inserts pre-molded to store plates vertically from many motorhome and caravan supply shops. The large drawer below the oven uses more Shadow Foam to store the pan set, kettle, spice kit, can opener, scissors and thermometer. There's currently space left over, which I've deliberately left for now so that the layout can adapt as we use the van and more closely define our requirements. It seemed a shame not to make use of the fold-down door below the sink, so I made this simple knife block to hold our sharp knives. It's pretty basic, just 5 slots to hold the knife blades, and I made something similar for our cutlery drawer in the caravan. But because this one will be placed vertically, I added embedded magnets to ensure that knives stay in for anything other than the most vigorous shaking. This was then screwed to the back of the fold-down hatch. The 790mm long ceiling cupboard is about 250mm tall at the front, but shaped at the back to match the roof profile. I wanted to make the most use of this space as possible while still keeping it uncluttered, so I 3D printed this rack for the sauce bottles to match the rear profile. I'd already learnt when making my 3D printed plate rack for the caravan that bowls are a bit problematic to hold securely whilst travelling. So with ridiculous over-engineering in mind, I made this holder for 4 bowls which incorporates an arm which can fold down when in transit. I know it's almost too silly, but it does work. For the glasses and mugs, after a lot of experimentation, I came up with these 3D printed tubes. They have a lip at the top and a slot at the back, which allows a strip of foam rubber sheet to be wrapped around them and folded into the slot. Not only does the rubber dampen down any rattles, it also allows the diameter to be adjusted by padding, tightening or loosening the foam strip. 3D printed parts, like many things, can shrink when cold, so this helps keep the mugs and glasses snug fitting and rattle free. Finally, for the tea, coffee and sugar, I found these cube tins on Amazon. They aren't ideal as they don't have an airtight seal, and metal is not the best material for sound deadening, but they do stack, and being metal, they are magnetic. So with these 3D printed bases with embedded magnets and an additional magnet stuck to the underside of the upper tin, they hold in place pretty well. So that's it, our highly organised kitchen cupboards. Early testing has found it to be rattle free and hold everything securely. There's still some space in the drawers, so I'm sure we will fill it out and optimise it further as we go along. I'll put links in the description for the various items that we purchased to kit out our kitchen area, and the models for the 3D parts will also be uploaded onto Thingiverse with links below, so feel free to download them and print them or modify them for your own designs. 3D printed parts do take quite a while to print, and whilst I don't have to sit and monitor them the entire time, it does still take a lot of time and effort, so I'm afraid I'm really not set up to 3D print parts for people on order. I hope you found this video interesting, or it has inspired you for some ideas of your own, and if it has, then please do hit that like button. If you'd like to see more videos that I make, then please do consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that bell icon to be notified when I post new videos. But most of all, thanks for watching.